The blue-skinned ambassador entered the council chamber with grace that made other species uncomfortable. Her name was Kira, and she represented the Zalathi Empire, one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. She had witnessed many species rise and fall, but humans were different. 3 cycles ago, the Galactic Council had made a terrible mistake. They had authorized a raid on a human colony ship carrying families to a new world. The raiders took everything valuable, including 23 human children. The Council saw it as acceptable losses in their ongoing conflict with the Terran expansion. Kira had voted against it, but her voice was one among many. Now she watched as Ambassador Lisa Martinez stood before the Council, the human. Woman was small compared to most species present, but her presence filled the room. The Council wishes to discuss trade agreements. Lisa said nothing about the children at first. She simply placed a data pad on the speaking platform. The screen lit up, showing Article 7 of the Galactic Charter. Any species that harms younglings of a protected civilization forfeits their seat on this council. Lisa read the words slowly. Protection extends to all offspring under the age of maturity. Human children are protected under this law. The Vorthan representative clicked his mandibles in dismissment. Humans are new here. You cannot invoke ancient laws for your benefit. Lisa smiled, and it was not a kind expression. The law was written by your ancestors, Senator. It applies to all member species equally. You took our children. You broke the law. Kira felt the temperature in the room change. The other council members shifted nervously. They had forgotten that humans studied everything. They learned every law, every loophole, every tradition. We can compensate the families. The elder counselor offered, his voice trembling. Credits will be transferred. Lisa shook her head slowly. Credits cannot replace children, Ambassador. You know this. Your own species values offspring above all else. Yet you took ours. The human fleet appeared on the main screen. Then hundreds of ships hanging in space above the council world. Not attacking, just waiting. We are not here for war. Lisa continued. We are here for justice. Return our children within 1 solar rotation, or we will consider the council dissolved. The room erupted in protests, but Lisa remained calm. She had done her homework. Every species here had signed the charter. Everyone had agreed to protect younglings. Kira stood then breaking protocol. Ambassador Martinez speaks truth. The law is clear. We took human children. We must return them, but they were sold. The Vorthan protested. We cannot simply. Then you will retrieve them. Lisa interrupted, her voice like steel. You will use your resources, your connections, your influence. You will bring back every single child unharmed. The council had never faced this before. Most species would rage and threaten when wronged. Humans did something far more dangerous. They used the council's own rules against them. Kira accessed her private channels and began making calls. The Zalathi had contacts everywhere. If the children could be found, her people would find them. She owed the humans that much for standing alone when she had failed to protect them. Within hours, reports started coming in. The children were being located one by one. Some were in labor camps, others in private collections. All were alive. The species that had bought them were learning what happened. When you touched human young, Lisa never raised her voice, never made threats beyond the legal ones. She simply waited as the council scrambled to fix their mistake. The human fleet remained in position, patient as stone. By the time the local sun had completed half its rotation, 18 children had been returned. They emerged from the rescue shuttles scared but unharmed. Human medical teams rushed to meet them, checking each one carefully. 5 more to go, Lisa announced to the council. 5 more, before your deadline expires. The elder counselor was sweating now, something his species rarely did. We are doing everything possible, he assured her. The remaining children will be found. They better be, Lisa replied. The alternative is the dissolution of a council that has stood for 10,000 years. All because you thought human children were acceptable casualties. Kira watched it all with growing respect. Humans were young to space travel, but they understood something the older races had forgotten. Laws meant nothing if they were not enforced equally. The council had grown comfortable bending rules for convenience. The deadline approached with 2 children still missing. The council chamber was in chaos as representatives screamed at their subordinates demanding results. The human fleet had not moved, but somehow that made them more terrifying. Then, with just minutes to spare, the final 2 children were brought in, a brother and sister who had been kept together through their ordeal. They ran to the human delegation, tears streaming down their faces. Lisa checked her datapad, confirming all 23 were accounted for. She looked up at the council, her expression unreadable. The children have been returned. However, the trauma they endured remains. The species responsible for taking them will make additional reparations to be determined by human family courts. The council agreed immediately. They had no choice. The humans had followed every law, every protocol they had shown that they understood the game better than those who had been playing it for millennia. As the human fleet departed, Kira approached Lisa. "Your species learns quickly," she observed. "We have to." Lisa replied, checking on the children through a viewport. "We are not the strongest or the oldest, but we protect our own. And now the galaxy knows it." The council reformed after that day with new respect for the young species from Earth. They had learned that humans did not need superior technology or vast empires to be dangerous. They just needed to understand the rules. And when it came to protecting their children, humans would use every rule in the book.